Alright, welcome to another Down the Rabbit Hole video, and I'm doing another Friday Drivey. I did one of these a little while ago, and for those who are not up to speed, at the risk of repeating myself, basically Steve Benway did a video where he used to just sit around and chat on a Friday night, and it was a real joy to be part of that community. And I just thought, well, maybe I'll give this a whirl as well. And I did try one of these already, and was curious to see what kind of... Ooh, there's a thing I haven't done yet. Yeah, don't know what I'm doing. Let's switch control. There we go. Okay. Yeah, basically, he was doing the Friday Drivey once in this, Burnout Paradise. And I just I heard a podcast where guys are talking about Burnout Paradise and how it's just fun to drive around in and fart about, do your things. So, and I need to get some of these billboards for a trophy, so why not? I just thought, I'm going to try and do a Friday Drivey myself. Now, I need to get repaired. Where the heck? I'm way out in the middle of nowhere here. Trying out a different vehicle this time. This is one that looks a lot like a Camaro. No, not Camaro. What's the one that... oh, Mark from Classic Game Room loves this car, and I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, it's that sort of half-truck, half-car looking thing. It'll come to me. Probably just as soon as I finish recording. Oh, there we go, I'm dead. Anyway, but yeah, I just thought I want to see if I can get into the swing of doing these little life updates, what's happening for me that's not covered by the rest of the channel. And when I did one a few weeks ago, oh, there goes another big crash. Yeah, you get a good look at the vehicle there that time. When I did that Friday Drivey attempt the first time around, I had a couple people say, hey, yeah, we could always do with more Friday discussion videos, things that what's going on in your life. And I thought, all right. And in fact, ooh, there, I can get repaired. Hey, now I feel better. Nope, that's a boost refill. My mistake. Okay. But anyway, what I also really enjoyed was Swifto left me a comment. He said, hey, we would love to have more Friday driving around or Friday type discussion videos. Would you like us to start asking you questions like I do with Alan Stewart, Mainmeister? I don't know if I'm quite ready for that to go on. Oh, there's a billboard and I went the wrong way there. Yeah, so, well, oh, big crash. And apologies for the beeping, that's actually coming from outside the window. I have no guarantee as to whether or not I'm going to be able to do this without the phone ringing or the cats running around or possibly jumping in front of the camera here. I'm just sort of taking this the way the other guys do their videos. I'm just sort of stream of consciousness, chatting away, and anything could happen. So apologies in advance if something interrupts this video. Anyway, as I was saying though, Swifto was just like, yeah, would you like us to start asking you questions? And I just thought, well, hang on, I haven't even really established if I'm doing this stuff regularly. Ooh, there's one. So I don't know yet, Swifto. Let me see if I get any kind of response that people find these videos worth doing. Now, there were a couple of reasons I wanted to post a video here. The first one is a little bit sad, but it leads directly into the second one. And get it! Yeah, there we go. Here in Canada, the nation has been largely talking about this tragedy that occurred in Saskatchewan. You've probably heard of it because it's made news internationally. A bus full of kids, you know, I think from 15 or 16 up to the age of 20 or so. They were in a very nasty accident, and many of them died, and it's very sad. But what ended up happening was there was an event where people around the country all decided to wear hockey jerseys to kind of commemorate, and even National Hockey League players changed their uniforms to say the name of the Humboldt Broncos. That was the name of the Saskatchewan team. And it was a very moving moment for us as a nation. It's one of those rare occasions that kind of brings people together, and you know, out of tragedy comes something positive, I suppose. I posted a picture on Facebook of me in a hockey jersey, and I'll talk about that later on. But first, I just wanted to kind of touch on that. It is something a lot of people have heard about outside of Canada. I mean, I hear that even the Queen had some comments to make, sympathies for the families, that kind of thing. So it's clearly a very, very big story that a lot of people have heard about. And I find what's interesting for me about this whole thing is that anybody who knows me knows I'm not really a hockey guy. And I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, well, why do you not like hockey? You're in Canada. And I thought, well, okay, let's tell that little anecdote here. Basically, when I was young, there was a period where we lived in a very small community. I've touched upon it before. There, I can get repaired. There we go. We lived in a small island community north of Vancouver called Alert Bay, which I've talked about in a couple of my... Oh, there we go. There's the garbage men doing their thing. In Alert Bay, where it was in the mid-'70s, and I had a few various anecdotes to do with that. But one of the downsides of living there at that time was that we had 4 channels that we could pick up off the antenna, which is fine. That's what you get for living in a small community. Anybody who lived in the UK in the 80s would be laughing because it's like, yeah, we had 4 channels all the time. What's your point? My point being that I was a kid of, 6, 7 years old, and because they only had 4 channels, the show that I really, really loved to watch as a young kid was the Bugs Bunny Roadrunner Hour, and that was on one channel. Unfortunately, it was on at the exact same time as Hockey Night in Canada. And my dad would be kind of the one who rules the roost and gets to decide, yeah, we're watching hockey. I want to see what happens in the game. So right off the bat, as a kid, I always had this negative kind of connection to do with that memory toward hockey. I built up a resistance or a kind of a resentment toward the game. Anytime I heard that theme, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's like why I can't watch Bugs Bunny and Roadrunner, because Dad wants to watch the hockey game. So that's why I've never really been big on hockey. I got another one. But over the years, I don't really care that much for professional sports anyway. I do play them in video games, but usually if there's a reason to, like there's a game that you can't replicate in real life, like race car driving or something like that, which is ironic since I'm playing Burnout. But I was never huge on hockey or other sports, I think primarily because this resentment toward, like, I can't get to watch my show. That's why I guess it was a formative part of my life. So, and now I've been posting about the Humboldt situation and how I have sympathy for the families, of course. And I just wanted to, nobody's saying, oh, you're not a hockey fan, how dare you? It's nothing like that. I'm not saying that that's what's going on. There's a part of me that feels like I need to maybe explain that, yeah, you don't have to be a hockey somebody who appreciates hockey in order to have sympathy for the families and all that kind of stuff. And I thought, yeah, I'm gonna post a picture of myself wearing a hockey jersey on Facebook and show, it also is something that those of us who aren't big onto hockey also want to, send our sympathy out to the families and that. Well, that looked interesting. Let's go back there. Now, I did it in a Star Wars hockey jersey because I actually picked that up years ago at Vancouver Fan Expo, and I thought, I'm never going to wear this thing. And then it was like, oh, wait a minute, this is for the families that lost their kids, and everybody across the country is all wearing a hockey jersey. I'm wearing the Star Wars one, and that's going to be awesome. And I was a little worried, am I being disrespectful? Are people going to give me the stink eye? I'm like, hey, man, this is a serious event. Don't go and wear your stupid Star Wars stuff for it. But everybody at work was pretty cool about it. They're like, hey man, that's a sweet jersey. So I was just like, okay, good. It's being viewed in the light in which it was intended, which is a good thing. Now, I want to get on to Facebook because I have a question for anybody who knows Facebook and computers really well. Because something happened to me just this past week that I just thought, Okay, this is in need of some inquiry here. First of all, I am only really a member of Facebook because I've got a YouTube channel, and you kind of need to be on both it and Twitter. I mean, that's kind of par for the course. In fact, it was Alan Mainmeister who even told me. Ooh, is that a car? Is that a news van? It is. Anyway, it was Alan Stewart who told me, yeah, you really want to get on Twitter and Facebook if you've got a YouTube channel, because you're going to need it as a way to notify people that you've got a new video out. And I was just like, all right, well, reluctantly I will join. I don't like it because I don't like the invasive nature of how it has taken people's privacy. And as I'm recording this, Mark Zuckerberg is currently being investigated by the U.S. Senate on that very subject. And one of my coworkers was telling me, yeah, you know, somebody in the questions that they were asking Mark Zuckerberg, they're like, so you're in town for this trial or whatever, this deposition. What hotel are you staying at? And he was like, oh, I can't remember what his answer was. And they're like, okay, can you tell us what hotel room you're staying in as well? And he was like, well, I don't really want to tell you that. I'm like, yeah, that's because it's private, Mark. You don't want to be going spreading that stuff. And so, you know, it was a very, like, touche to whoever it was who asked that question. It's like, yeah, exactly, Mark Zuckerberg. Don't be blasting all of people's private information everywhere. Now, because I've approached Facebook recently, I've got into it with a certain, like, my eyes open. I know that I never post anything on there that I wouldn't want to have brought back to me in a court of law and say, hey, you said this on this date. How do you feel about that? So I'm fairly careful with the stuff that I say. But I had something really weird happen to me, and it reminded me of a podcast I listened to a little while ago. The podcast is called Reply All, and they did a very cool episode called Is Facebook Spying on You? Because they had a variety of people, a bunch of guests on, who were convinced, this is around the time there was all that talk about if you've got the Facebook app on your phone, they've somehow hacked your microphone and listened to every conversation you have, because something you will mention in passing to somebody on your phone, instantly you get an ad for it on Facebook. So they're spying on us. And it was a very interesting investigation and discussion about the subject. I liked it. And I just thought, okay, well, I don't think that's true, but they went into some explanations about it could very well be that the way Facebook operates, it actually is because of people that are your friends. If they've got a connection to if you just bought a sweater from the store, or if you're interested in buying a sweater in a store, because they know that, Facebook is like gathering information that way, and that's how the ad is getting to you. It's nothing to do with this, they've hacked your microphone and they're listening to your conversation. It's different from that. And I was like, okay, well, whatever. Now, let me throw you my recent Facebook weird situation and see if anybody's got an explanation here, because if it's what I think it is, it's a really good indication of just how deep Facebook is in people's privacy. Next year, we're planning on a trip somewhere, and there's going to be a video about it, so I'm not going to reveal where, but it's going to be really cool if/when it happens. It's way down the road. We're just at the early stage of planning it here. And it's in an obscure part of a country that I've never visited before. So we're talking, I'm coming at this thing kind of carte blanche here. Like, I've never been here before. Nobody I know is from here. And it's a small town in this country that we're going to. Not a problem. So, my wife did some investigation and found out, oh, hey, they're actually getting booked already. Like, we're a year out, and already some of those rooms are going. So if we want to book a room, even just to, like, reserve it for now, we better get on that. I was like, okay, no problem. So she brought up the website on her laptop, and I logged in, or no, I put in my credit card just to say, you know, if we get the time off from work, which we still got to organize, I want to get at least one of these rooms. So no problem. What's your email address? So I gave them my Hotmail account, and lo and behold, yes, a confirmation number did arrive. Cool, we're in. Awesome, great. So I then logged out of my Hotmail, and again, I have to emphasize this. I logged out of my Hotmail account on her computer, and I went back to my computer in the office, and my Facebook account, if I ever like need my password reset, or if I get notifications emailed to me or whatever, that's actually connected to a Gmail account. I like to keep these things kind of on separate areas. So Facebook only knows me by my Gmail account, not my Hotmail account. The Hotmail account that my confirmation number for this hotel was emailed to. Less than 24 hours later in Facebook, I got an ad for that small town in that country, indicating here's some tourist destinations, things to check out while you're in this town. How the heck did Facebook know I was doing that? Like, it's a different computer, so it's not even the same browser by any stretch. Different computers, different rooms, different email accounts. Why would there be any connective tissue between that transaction with the hotel and my Facebook account to suddenly I'm getting ads of, oh yeah, go and check out this thing, this mountain range while you're there, or whatever. It's like, what? The only explanation I can come up with, now, okay, maybe Facebook is somehow reading that I'm from the same IP address. Now, if I recall correctly, my wife's, well, okay, yeah, we're going through the router, so same IP address, I suppose. So unless, if Facebook is somehow reading, oh, it's the same IP as this transaction, that's a little spooky, because it means like they've got access on that level, like to my internet provider. Okay. Or the alternative is even just as spooky. That means that Microsoft, who run Hotmail, and Google, who run Gmail, have got some kind of deal with Facebook that they're going to let Facebook know, oh, he's actually connecting to, or he's booking this room in this hotel using Hotmail. So he's going to this country, so maybe send him an ad. Now, this is serious tinfoil hat territory. I apologize that I sound like a crazy person who's looking for conspiracies everywhere. And again, I go into Facebook knowing full well, yeah, they've got any of my private information to that degree. I mean, I try my best to keep the important stuff hidden. I don't care that they know that I'm going to this country and I'm going to be in this town. Like, that's not a big deal. Fortunately, I'm not... I don't know, the examples I always give is, if I was, say, maybe, I don't know, let's say Kevin Smith, who might at some point in his life have enjoyed pharmaceuticals that are not necessarily legal in the town in which he lives. Sure, if I'm him, or if I was somebody involved in maybe something a little bit unsavory, like some kind of right-wing groups that like to do demonstrations, or if I was maybe having an affair, if I was in any way doing something that I'd kind of like to keep on the download, I would be really freaking out right now. And that means if you're somebody who is very paranoid or very concerned about what you keep secure and what is private, don't go anywhere near Facebook, because they've got their hands deep in your pocket. Again, I'm not any of the above, so it's not a big deal. I mean, I don't care that they know that I've been wearing a Star Wars hockey jersey to work. That's not a big deal. So it's again, not something I'm too concerned about. But I do think it shows. Let's go to this ribs place. I could do with some ribs. Yeah, I just thought, wow, this is... Like, it was just one of those moments that I had to suddenly stop and think, oh, we can't get in there. I had to suddenly stop and think of, like, how is Facebook even knowing that this has happened? How did they know? Yeesh, and I think years ago, way before this trial that, or whatever it is, deposition, that Mark Zuckerberg was on. Well, you can't go for rapes. All right. Years before this deposition that Mark Zuckerberg's currently involved in, there was a story of, like, some guy had bought an engagement ring for his girlfriend. And because he did that on eBay or something and he had some connection to Facebook, they instantly blasted all over his Facebook account, for your special event, here's a wedding venue. And his fiancée was like, oh, I guess you're proposing sometime. And he was like, geez, Facebook, can you maybe leave that for me to be the one to instigate? Like, it was it was a kind of breach of privacy that I'm sure a lot of people would not have appreciated. Let's just bust this one billboard here. So yeah, that's the kind of thing that I just think is a little bit scary, and a warning for anybody out there who's going through not thinking too much about how invasive Facebook is. It's really scary. If that stuff is important to you, it's very scary. Again, I only do this stuff knowing that, hey, I could at any time be, somebody could pull me up and say, hey, you said this thing. Like, I've heard horror stories of teachers who, they were at a party and they got a little drunk and the pictures showed up on Facebook and instantly they lost their job. Like, there is room for some major ramifications. I try to keep my nose clean a lot, and I don't post any stuff that I think would be dicey. So it's not anything that I'm personally worried about, but if you're somebody who is a little more concerned about that stuff than myself, I'm just back at this place. Let's go somewhere else. Yeah, be aware. Facebook has that kind of level of control of you. Anyway, yeah, I think I'll probably just call it there. Just so those are just a couple of things I wanted to talk about and share with anybody who wants to watch these. This will go up on a Friday, and yeah, this is, again, if Alan's watching or anybody else that does these Friday videos, if they're thinking, oh, thank goodness, Kevin's taking over. It's like, no. I'm dabbling. I'm trying it out. I found the first one was super easy to edit. My goodness, you just record and then you upload. I was worried that because it was such a long video, it would take a particularly lengthy time to upload. No, it was fine. No problems there. And I'm hoping maybe I'll get... Oh, I found all road rages. Cool. Yeah, I'm hoping this might become a thing. We'll see. We'll see if it sticks. I don't know if anybody else is interested that much. Maybe you don't want to hear me giving off about Facebook because there's a million other people doing that online. Maybe, as per Swifto's suggestion, maybe I'll start answering questions. Although I think that's swimming in Alan Stewart's pool. I don't know if I want to do that. But anyway, that'll be it for now. And yeah, I guess until next time, we'll see you down the rabbit hole.